Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Shadow Drescher to come back to you with a different type of video. Today we're doing some UWP coding. We're going to create Minesweeper in a several-part series. And before I get started with anything, I'm not an industry professional. I'm currently in college, and we had this assignment, and I really thought this would be a good idea because I looked for hours to see if I could find anything that was actually good for Minesweeper. I saw a lot of Visual Basic. I saw a lot of JavaScript, Python, and all these different languages. I couldn't find one for UWP. So I thought I'd hop on here and share how I did this. So we're going to step by step. We're going to do XAML first for the first part, and then we'll come on as we go. The next part will most likely be setting up your models, your in your main code. I don't use MVVM. I just keep it just default. You've got your main page XAML, you've got your main page CS, and then that's it, besides your models folder, and that is it. So let's get right into this. So first off, we're going to create a border type thing. So we need a grid row definition. Let's make sure these are close tags. So let's do this 3 times. So we're going to give it a height, and I don't fully know how to explain what a star does, but we are using those. I'm pretty sure there's a percentage type thing there. We just don't give this one a height because it'll default to 1. Nope, I accidentally just built it. Hold on. Accidentally pressed Control B. That is the build key. There we go. Okay. So, oh, hold on. I did that wrong. Let me actually correct myself here. See, I told you I'm not an industry professional. Well, I'll make mistakes, and there we go. There's my first one right off the bat. This is a row definition. Okay, we'll make this a self-closing tag, and then we'll paste it. Okay, we'll do height is 0.15 star. This just gives you enough room with top and bottom, and then allows you to have a nice complete grid in the middle. Okay, so so the layout we're going for, we could use the toolbox, we could totally use this. I just prefer to do this all by hand. If you guys prefer doing it by toolbox, go for it 100%, but I'm going to type this all out. And I keep pressing M. So grid, so let's create another grid here. There is no name for this grid, there's no name for the first grid. They don't ever get used in the code behind, so I don't personally see a reason why we should give them a name. Just kind of pointless. It takes up space, kind of looks ugly, and that's just that. Alright, we are getting, that's why. So this actually surrounds this grid, my bad. Okay, Control KD to actually do that. And then these are all defaulted to 1 star. In my code example I have set over here, we do have them set to 1 star, but as you can see up here, they are all already 1 star. And of course you can change this by the actual designer, but we don't need to. Alright, so let's create a button. And we need that to be a full button. We don't need it to be anything else. So we're going to do content difficulty. Let's capitalize that actually. Difficulty. Font size, let's do 32. Grid column, I like to specifically say what kind of column it is, even though it always defaults to 0. The first item always defaults to 0, which is your first index or your first column definition. So it's like an index. You have 0, 1, and then your 2. So that's that. Let's do horizontal alignment, and we'll do center so we can keep it in the center, make everything look nice and fancy. Margin, let's do 40,000. Just keep it well, actually, hold on, let me check something. Does this actually be necessary? It's not necessary. Let's just leave out margin, but let's add padding. Give this a little bit of space around the edges. We'll do 20 top and bottom, 10. I believe it's top, bottom, left, right, something like that. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're gonna do something that I like to do. This is optional. Honestly, you could do 3 buttons, easy, medium, and hard, and you should be fine. I like doing it this way just because it actually looks just a little bit nicer and you don't have all the buttons populating the top. So yeah, let's get this going. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna specifically say that. We're gonna do menu flyout item. Okay. We're going to give this an actual name because we need to call this one. Actually, okay, the reason we do this is not because we call this item. We actually create a click event handle or that that we want to name after. So easy flyout item. Okay. So yes, I will go back on some things I say, and I'm sorry about that, but I hope I don't get too confusing. So we'll give this just a 3 padding all around. Font size, we'll do 32, just the same as the button. We'll do a click event, if I can type. New event handler, which will be called this. So that's what we want. Then we'll close that. Okay, so we'll do here is we'll just copy this. Okay, and then we'll do medium. And I do hope I don't spell anything wrong. If I do, I will probably fix it sooner or later, but I might not catch it. Let's just do new. Okay, that's our second button. Then we need one more. You could add a custom event where it does, you click the button, pops out another flyout menu thing, and you could type in custom values. We're not going to worry about that, though this design actually allows you to be dynamic and put whatever values you really want. We're not going to do that right now. Oh, let's capitalize that actually. Okay, and then we'll do hard. Let's just do a new event, so that creates it in the code behind, and that is our difficulty menu. Okay, so we also need a mine counter and an actual status text block. So let's get that going. So text block. Let's just create self-closing tags, copy that twice. All right, so each one of these is going to be different actually. So, and also I'm using xname. I know it's an older syntax, but it's just default for me. Like I always just xname every time. You could just use name, 100% up to you, doesn't really matter. It's just a habit for me. So grid column 1, okay, and then we'll do alignment center. Make sure everything's just nice and centered. Then we'll do font size. We'll actually do this 32. I have it set to 50 on this code example, but we're going to just do it normally. We don't need this last chunk of code, so we're just going to go with that. Okay. So then we have xname status text block. Okay. We'll define grid column again to 2, so it's in the right side of the screen. Alignment horizontal center, and then font size. So we'll do 32 as well. If we need to change anything, we can come back and change it. 100% fine. We don't really need that. There are some redundancies that I'm removing from the code as we go, so pardon if I type something and erase it. Okay, so that's that. We now have our main thing. So if I put here text hello, this is center. Okay, that's why I need that. Okay, so let me do that real quick. So vertical alignment center, not bottom, center. and then we'll take this and we'll paste it down here as well. I did not remember if text did that by itself, so we'll do text hello again. So as you can see, the text is kind of small. Button I think is a little bit bigger, so we're gonna just increase this to about 42. That looks decent. If it's not big enough, we will then just figure out something else. So okay, that's our main header. Okay, we're gonna erase this stuff because we don't need it. All right, so here we go for the main actual grid of the Minesweeper. We're gonna do one grid and that's it. We don't need any fancy hiding or anything like that. That's just kind of redundant. So let's get going. Okay, so we're gonna do a view box. The reason I do a view box is because you have 3 different difficulties. You have a 9x9 grid, a 16x16 grid, and a 16x30 or something like that, or 16 by, I don't remember. I'll have to look at the specifics whenever we get there. It's a larger grid. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so let's give this some rules or some parameters, properties. That's what I'm trying to say. Max height 800, max width 1,200. This might not be necessary. I honestly just put it in here because I was worried that it might not work like I want it to. So we're just gonna keep it in there and then we'll go with it. All right, so grid, we're gonna have another grid. I really like grids, can you tell? Okay, so we're gonna knock out some redundant code here. We're gonna do padding, 40, X name, let's switch this actually. X name, game grid. So that's our main grid. And then padding, oop, didn't mean to press that. Padding. And, okay. So this part isn't really necessary as of right now because we don't have our main code, but I'm going to put this in here anyway. So what this section will do is whenever we create the buttons for our actual grid, we don't have to hard code or code any values in the actual CS. We can do most of them here. So if we do style, target type, button, okay, and then we do some setters. We can actually do these as self-closing tags. These aren't that I'm gonna actually zoom in. I don't know if that was actually far away or not. Hopefully it wasn't small. If it was, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so properties. We have font size. Nope, not font family. We could change font, but it's not that important. Value, value, value. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll take the setter, we'll copy it. We'll copy alignment, and then we'll do center. So this is going to be a little bit of copying and pasting just for a minute here. So we have, I believe 6. So 3, 4, 5, 6. If we don't have them, then we'll get rid of them. So min width, and then let's do 60 and then 60. So min width is 60 and then min height is 60. Okay, and then margin, we'll just do a normal 3. So I can't really show you how this is gonna look. I could put a button on the screen, but I promise that this actually looks decent whenever you get to the further stages. So let's do light slate gray. This is the color I chose. I chose a very bold, or kind of just a normal dull color scheme, but that's actually all of the Xaml. So we can tidy this up by just removing spaces in between all of this code, because it doesn't really matter if the bottom tags touch or anything. It doesn't really matter if any tags touch, but actually this is the actual Xaml. We're going to end part 1 here. I'll pick it up part 2 today. I'm going to do 2 episodes a day until we finish this. And yeah, so I hope you guys got the XAML. I hope it runs. I'm going to run this real quick before I actually do anything. I hope it runs for you. If it doesn't, try to watch the video again, because we don't have any errors and we have the actual page. So we have here. Okay, so there.